5th anniversary this week of when Becky, Charlotte, and Sasha got called up to Monday Night Raw. So a lot of the focus from WWE social media and whatnot was dedicated to the Women's Evolution this week. So it kind of made me bring up a thought. What was your favorite match from the Women's Evolution?
What's your favorite match?
My favorite match was with Melina and Alicia Fox.
Who?
Like, knowing what we know about Stone Cold, you can watch that video and you can tell he's like really restraining himself from
Oh, dude, like, yeah, if you've listened to his podcast or anything, like, you know that he just wanted to let him fly. And like, when anybody gets white knuckled, like to stop themselves from saying something, like there was a lot of things Stone Cold Steve Austin wanted to say there. But
just like I feel like he really wanted to like throw fists.
He just wanted to let loose.
He wasn't going to use any words at all.
That's true.
0 words.
0.0 words.
Like he would have had to be like restrained by like producers.
Bill DeMott. By Bill DeMott. But
irony.
For me, and I know this probably wasn't part of like the technical like Women's Evolution in the WWE, but when I think about the change in the division and some of the superstars that got us there, the match between Sasha and Bayley at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn in 2015 will always be like at the top or right near the top of like those matches that just absolutely to this day just blow me away. That's a match you can put on at any time. That is an all-timer, that match. But really, you know, from matches like that to the main event of WrestleMania last year, and I know like the match itself didn't turn out the way that I think anybody wanted it to, but the moment itself, you know, if you would have gone back, I mean, since around WrestleMania 30 time is when we've been producing this show. And I think at WrestleMania 30, it was like a Divas Battle Royal that lasted all of like 4 minutes or something. I mean, it was really like to go from that to 5 years later, not only like women main eventing, but Ronda Rousey. And I know like people have mixed feelings about Ronda Rousey in the WWE, but like, imagine somebody telling you that at WrestleMania 30, like 5 years from now, it's going to be Ronda Rousey and one of the women that helped out in Triple H's entrance tonight, and then Becky Lynch, who we didn't even know who that was at that point, are going to be main eventing WrestleMania. I don't think we ever could have imagined that. So, like, I mean, that obviously is a moment, more of a moment that will forever stick out as kind of almost, and not that the women's evolution or whatever is over, but like, I mean, those are kind of like these bookended pieces of time. Ryan, what?
I'm going to hit you with 2 different things. I think you're absolutely right. I think the main event of 35 was very, very magical. Like I said, the match didn't, I don't think, pan out. There was the botch ended, whatever it was. It just something wasn't there. But the entrances were superb. The Charlotte on the helicopter, it was so well done. And like you said, just the addition of Ronda Rousey. I know she's not one of the original 4 horsewomen, but that was just a magical moment. And to see that live and to feel like the pulse of the crowd when that happened, it was unreal. It really was. I can't put into words how special of a moment that felt being live there.
Which is impressive because at that point it was like hour 12 of WrestleMania too. Man,
the crowd was so hot.
Which is awesome.
Really, really
That's
were.
Awesome.
They knew something big was going to happen. And 35 was just so well done. I'd love to do a whole show on 35. I know Mark was there with me. And we have a ton to talk about from the show itself. But the biggest miss is we never saw the 4 horsewomen versus the 4 horsewomen. And I know it's a Ronda Rousey thing, not there. Shafir and Jasmine Duke starting later in NXT. It just, man, I don't know why it just didn't work out, but the story wrote itself. You could have had a showdown, build it for a fucking year, and then blew it off like finally at following WrestleMania. It just never happened. And as a sports fan and a UFC guy and like a WWE guy, that sucks.
Yeah, I agree. Matt.
Obviously the Iron Woman match, Sasha Bailey is probably number one for me. Sasha versus Becky at Unstoppable in 2015. I think is a match we should do a watch along for, because I think it's one of the underrated gems of like what we see. Because that was the first time I really remember. Like, I was always a Sasha fan, but that was like when Becky really sold me as like she is probably number 2, and I think eventually became number 1 of the 4 horsewomen in my eyes. So those 2 things. But I think in terms of moments, you just kind of have to look to WrestleMania, and just a lot of what Charlotte has done through her career. She's been kind of my least favorite of the 4 horsewomen, but I've always just kind of respected what Charlotte has been to the business, because she obviously has Rick, but she's kind of like separated herself over these past few years to just really stand on her own. I know when she first started coming into the main scene, like, we saw Rick too much. So I think help from that, kind of standing on her own. Even if I don't necessarily think she's the best, I think she just kind of has that presence about her. She carries herself very well. She takes the business very seriously. So I think Charlotte has always kind of embodied the whole wrestling feel very well. So, a lot of her matches, they might not be the best, but I think you can see that she works her ass off in those matches and carries out a lot, especially in that WrestleMania match. Like, because Ronda was the biggest name, but the weakest link. And
Sure.
I think that really showcased what Charlotte does in terms of like putting a match together and making someone with lesser talent look a lot better than they are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm somebody who, at times have said, like, I kind of get Charlotte fatigued, and I think a lot of us do. And I mean, moments like right now where she is taking some time off, I think when she does return, we'll all be able to appreciate her better for it. But yeah, there's never any denial of just how good she actually is. Shout out to like Tim and Marcus, who do the Final Wrestling Place. Their episode this past week, because they've been doing like the Boys and Girls of Summer. They highlighted Charlotte Flair, and I thought it was a really great episode. Brittany, your thoughts on one or some of your favorite matches from the Women's Evolution?
Well, it's one of those things of I was at WrestleMania 30 because it was in New Orleans, and so I was there, and that was the Divas, whatever you want to call it. It was something. But you were just excited. I remember being there and just being excited to see all of the Divas even just wrestle, because there's been shows that I've watched where you don't even have even one women's match on the card at all. So it was just like, ooh, they get to do something. It's like less than 5 minutes long, but whatever, they got to do something. Like, it's great. And seeing all of the NXT matches, I mean, when Charlotte and Becky and Sasha and Bailey were in NXT, those takeover matches, you go back now and watch them, and they are some of the greatest matches. I mean, now people are paying attention to them on the main roster, but like, they fought hard in those NXT matches. Like, they fought hard, like their career depended on it. Like, it was like one of those things of like, they're like, all right, this might be my last match, let's go. Like, it was, some of those matches almost seemed like retirement matches. They were giving it their all, and it's like, oh, they're not going to be on the show for the rest of the year, they're going to be hurt. I would say the unveiling of the new women's championship, when they first unveiled it, when they got rid of the Divas championship and they unveiled the women's championship, that was so iconic and great to see. And even though the Divas era is like, it has its place in the wrestling history, like mostly it has its place. It did bring some great people into the wrestling world who were a diva throughout their entire career, and you have those moments, but it's nice to see them come back, like being able to see like Molly Holly and like, you know, Alicia Fox and just all these people come back and do like when they did the Women's Royal Rumble, and seeing them make their little guest appearances and stuff like that, seeing them come back into a women's wrestling match and it not being a bra and panties match, or
Right.
being a evening gown match, or being a whipped cream match. I don't know.
Right,
whatever,
like the mud matches, the pudding match, what whatever
matches, the mud matches, whatever.
random thing they had them wrestle in.
Right. It was so nice to see, and so I just like to see where it goes. And I honestly, like, as much as I love the main roster in SmackDown and Raw in WWE, NXT roster is where it's at. It always has been, every single time. They just moved Bianca Belair up. Bianca Belair is, I'm happy they moved her up, like, congratulations, but I'm also sad because I don't know if they'll be able to utilize her as well as they were on NXT. On NXT, she was a big fish in a small pond. Now she's going to be a big fish or a small fish in a big pond. So, like, I mean, I hate when those kind of things get lost in the shuffle with WWE sometimes, because I love seeing them get brought up to the main roster, but sometimes I'm like, no, just keep them here on NXT. NXT is technically, it's a main roster to me, damn it. It's the third brand. We established this. We had a whole pay-per-view for it.
Yeah, damn it. They won. They won, damn it.
They won. There's a third. They're on USA. There's no need to bring people up.
Sure, yeah.
There's no
You know,
need.
and I mean, like, Bianca made a surprise appearance on Raw this past week, so, like, hopefully it's like a sign of things to come. That is the hope. I pulled up the WrestleMania 30 card. AJ Lee defeated Oksana, Alicia Fox, Brie Bella, Cameron, Emma, Eva Marie, Layla, Naomi, Natalia, Nikki Bella, Rosa Mendez, Summer Rae, and Tamina in the Vicky Guerrero Invitational for the Divas Championship in 6 minutes and 48 seconds.
What happened to Oksana?
I don't know. She's just gone. Back to Russia, I guess. I don't know. I honestly have no clue.
Yeah,
On the internet, find out for us.
yeah.
Google.
The other thing that stands out to me with the Four Horsewomen is when NXT started, like, it was their first, like, nationwide tour, and I got to go and see them in the Philly area, and we all know how fickle Philly fans can be, especially with their wrestling. And the main event that night was Sasha versus Charlotte, and, like, it brought the house down. This is a night where you saw Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Triple H made a surprise appearance. Like, Tyler Breeze was still in his heyday. Like, some huge, Bo Dallas was there. So it's like big names in NXT that then became big names in WWE. And the headline was Sasha versus Charlotte. And the fans were just, like, eating out of their palms the entire match. Like, exactly. It was just phenomenal. And that's when you really knew, or I really knew, like, this is something special. Like, wrestling fans get that women's wrestling is about to take a huge leap beyond what we've seen.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously been there's been plenty of other moments over the women's evolution, and I know this week there's a lot of speculation because apparently the weekend after SummerSlam, the WWE is planning some sort of other special event on the network, and I know some people have been speculating that it could be the Hall of Fame. Others have been speculating that it could be another Evolution pay-per-view. And, you know, we kind of talked about the Hall of Fame last week or the week before, that, you know, you could, that if they're going to do it this year, it's going to be remote. It's going to be like virtual. It's going to be this sort of a scenario. So I think that they at this point, you might as well hold off and just, I don't know, roll it over into next year, or hope for Royal Rumble, and then, like we said, you could do Undertaker by himself at Mania next year. But I would be all on board for another Evolution pay-per-view. You could get a little bit tricky, because I think on the first one, I think they had some of the NXT UK talent, and obviously with travel restrictions that could be hard right now, but you have plenty of
I want to come here.
Yeah, they certainly do not. Can't blame them either.
No.
But you have plenty of talent in the States that's usable, and I think there's also some talent out there that whether it's part-time or legends of the division that you could possibly bring in, and so I think if that's what it is, I'm on board for an Evolution too at this point. Ryan, we'll go around. Ryan, your thoughts on that potential?
I wasn't listening to a word you said. My apologies. I was looking up whatever happened to Oksana.
What happened? What happened to her?
For everybody, she was released from the WWE June 12th, 2014. It was Black Thursday, the same day they released JTG. They released Drew McIntyre that day. Jinder Mahal was released that day. Oksana, Kurt Hawkins, Teddy Long, Camacho, big old Brodus Clay, Evan Bourne, Yoshitatsu, and referee Mark Harris was all released that day. And then she ventured down to beautiful Tampa, Florida, beautiful this time of year. She was a director of trainers at a health club called UFIT, and has since started her own business as a personal trainer.
How about that?
And she's from Lithuania. She wasn't even Russian.
Oh, well, my bad.
I don't know where Lithuania is at, though, so maybe it's in Russia.
Eastern Europe, I think.
She told me I was pretty at Access when I saw her. She told me her and Rosa Mendez both told me that I was pretty, so that's why I wanted.
But there you have it. She was right.
Yeah.
She knows what you're talking
Absolutely. So Ryan, yes or no, would you be in favor of a Evolution 2?
As long as Oksana comes back, yes.
Perfect. Matt, any thoughts?
Only if Oksana's back. Yes, 100%. I would like to see the Mae Young Classic come back too. I think they have a lot of talent that they could put into that. I don't know why we got away from those tournaments. I think they were very well received. That and the tag team ones, very fun stuff for wrestling fans to watch. And you could certainly do those types of things in front of an empty arena. I feel like they sort of did anyway. Yeah. But yes, Evolution 2, please.
I mean, they won't, if they do the Mae Young Club, they won't have Jim Ross there at a cowboy hat blue circle the whole time. So maybe that's why they abandoned that one.
Yeah,
I'll do it for them.
Just bring Jerry the King back so he can scream puppies randomly.
Sauce it.
Brittany, your thoughts on a potential for Evolution 2?
I mean, obviously, last time I checked, I am a woman, and so I definitely want a second Evolution. I want the Mae Young Classic back every year. I don't know why they haven't continued on. If they're so starved for content, that's an easy thing they already have set in place to give us instead of the horror show at Extreme Rules. They could have had the Mae Young Classic at Extreme Rules and then just had Extreme Rules as well. We can do these things. I'm all for it. I want us to find Oksana so bad, and I want her to come back. I really, now that I know, I wonder if she's still in Tampa.
I don't think is anybody allowed to leave Florida at this point? I've lost track of.
No, but
I've lost track of that state.
She's still in Tampa. If we're all still alive come next year, and Louisiana and my company can still run shows again, I definitely want to try to find her and book her. This is one of those weird VH1s, Where Are They Now? Where I go and find her, and then I bring her to a show, and I'm like, look.
I was thinking Elevate Pro can do that kind of on the road with Brittany Nicole as she finds these wrestlers that she wants to come to the show.
Where are they now?
My brother lives in St. Pete, so I'll tell him to keep his eye out, for
Good.
for
Thank you.
for Oksana.